What's up, YouTube? Welcome to ExceedTheHype.com. It's your boy Lucrecio coming at you with another video. Alright, today's video is about the 5 reasons a Carmelo Anthony buyout would change the landscape in the NBA and the balance of power. Alright, so I know a lot of people are thinking about Carmelo Anthony and how he hasn't been the most relevant superstar in the NBA the last couple seasons because of his team being really bad. Well, I'm here to tell you, if he's bought out, like reportedly is a possibility, it will change the landscape in the NBA. People think it's unlikely that he get bought out because he has 2 seasons left on his contract. Both, I think this next one is at $26 million, and one after that might be, approaching $27 million, which is so much freaking money to try to buy out. They're obviously not going to buy it out at the full value. So I'm assuming it'll probably be something like they would have to buy out like $38 million if he'd even go for it. He'd be losing a lot of money, probably 35. But if that were to happen, for just the sake of competition, if he really wanted to just say screw the money, even though you owe me upwards of $50 million, I'll leave your franchise for 38 or 40, whatever the case, whatever New York would offer him and he would accept, it would change the game. First of all, just money-wise, if you take this is reason number 5, if you take a $26 million player, a seasoned player, and you add that player on a new team for the veterans minimum, and he's still a $26 million player, what does that do for you? Well, that obviously makes your team a lot better, especially with Carmelo's scoring ability. He would make a lot of teams, playoff teams, and a team that's a contender, a top team, that might be the push you need to push that team over the edge of, possibly winning the championship. Reason number 4. Rumors of Carmelo's decline have been greatly exaggerated. So a lot of people think Carmelo Anthony is washed up. He used to be like a top 5 player, a top 5 scorer in the NBA. And the New York Knicks failure as a team has completely ruined his reputation as a player. A lot of people don't think he's any good. You hear stories about, oh, he's so terrible, blah, 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 blah. He's washed up. He's not worth this, not worth that. Carmelo Anthony is still, if you just look at the talent, if you still look at the ability to score the basketball, he is still a top 5 scorer in this league. I wouldn't say he's a top 5 player, but he's a top 5 scorer in this league when it just comes to scoring the basketball. He can score on the post, he can score from 3, he's really physical, he can get to whatever, he got sweet spots on the floor at the elbow, he can score in a myriad of ways very easily on anybody, alright? He hasn't declined as much as people think. And if he was added to a team that's relevant, that's good, like the Cavaliers, like the Houston Rockets or something like that, his reputation would go right back up to where it's supposed to be. Alright, so that's reason number 4. Reason number 3, Carmelo Anthony has not played with a whole lot of playmakers in his career at this point. In his career, in my opinion, he only had 2 legitimate playmakers. Let's talk about Chauncey Billups and with the Denver Nuggets when he was cold, when they went to the Western Conference Finals and lost. Because Chauncey Billups is obviously a great point guard and a great playmaker. And the other time he had success is when he lost in the Eastern Conference semi-finals to LeBron James, when he had old man Jason Kidd, when that team under D'Antoni was hitting all the threes, when they had Steve Novak having a career season, and they were just lighting the whole show up. So when he's had playmakers, he's shown that he is a top level basketball player. The season in New York, when he had Jason Kidd, he was in the MVP talk for a while. Naturally, that was during the first half of the season, but still, he was in the MVP talk. If he were to be bought out, his playmaking options would be Chris Paul, who's probably the best playmaker in the game, James Harden, another playmaker, another person who played point guard, had a whole lot of turnovers, which is why Chris Paul is there, but also another good passer. Or if he went to Cleveland, it'll be LeBron James and Kyrie Irving as his main playmakers, people looking to get him involved in the offense. Those are better options than he's almost had in his career. Chris Paul, LeBron James being like a distributor or whatever. It's some of the best passers that the game has seen. Reason number 2, Carmelo Anthony is not as bad as a defender as people say. So this is my theory on volume scorers in the NBA. Players whose team depend on their scoring as much as teams would depend on Carmelo Anthony. You have to make a decision when you're a 25 per game, unless you're Kawhi Leonard, and even Kawhi Leonard, because his defensive numbers have gone down. If you're a 25 point per game plus player, you have to make a decision. You only have so much energy to expend in the game of basketball, and defense, in my opinion, wastes a lot more energy, or more energy than offense. If you're Carmelo Anthony and you have to score 25 points, you have to keep the team afloat because you don't have other scorers that you could depend on, you're just not going to be that great of a defender. You don't have the energy to fight over 50 screens. You don't have the energy to chase people around or whatever. Your initial on-ball defense can be good, but once you have to switch and do all this other stuff, people get lost. And if you're one of these players who score all these points, you're just not going to have the energy to do that. So I think if you put Carmelo Anthony on a team like the Rockets or the Cleveland Cavaliers, where he doesn't have to shoulder the burden of scoring all the points, you will see, because let's be honest about this, all these players, these people have been playing basketball 20 plus years. And in Carmelo's case, he's what, 2000, drafted in what, 2003 with LeBron and those guys. They've been playing forever. And then before the NBA, they've been playing forever. These guys aren't truly bad defenders. They're bad defenders because they choose to be bad defenders, because they choose to use their energy scoring the basketball. All right, so that's reason number 2. I don't think his defense is going to be on a team when he has plenty of other players to shoulder the burden. I don't think his defense will be something that causes a team to lose or not be strong. All right, reason number 1. The fact that you'd be able to add Carmelo Anthony to a contending team without that contending team losing a valuable piece. The going rate for Carmelo Anthony should be like a Kevin Love type player, or Paul George, or whoever the case may be. The fact that you can add 23 points per game and capable of more and about 8 rebounds or whatever the case for free or for a veteran minimums contract is a game changer. That transaction alone could have a KD type impact on a team that already has a lot of pieces. I do think the Cavaliers will try to get rid of Kevin Love. I think there's some kind of friction there, all right? But if they didn't, if they had a team with LeBron, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, and then they added Carmelo on top of that, and then Tyronn Lue came up with some kind of legit offense to keep everybody involved, that team would be able to go on and win a championship. And let's look at it. You had Cleveland, you had Golden State 2 years ago, right? The Cleveland team straight up beat Golden State, even though Golden State did lose Andrew Bogut, but he's a role player. You lose players from time to time. That Cleveland team beat the Golden State team. That Golden State in 7 games, so it was a close matchup, but Cleveland came out on top. Golden State added KD, a player who, for his career, over 26 points a game or whatever, they added him. Obviously, that's not a fair matchup. So, the Cavaliers, a team that took that team to 5 games, and it should have been 6 games. It should have been at least 6 games. I honestly picked the Cavaliers in 6. After I saw the first couple games or whatever, I thought, okay, maybe in 7. But after watching more of the series, I was like, okay, even if Cleveland had taken care of home court, I doubt they would have won Game 7 because they could not contend with Golden State in Oakland this year, right? To me, adding Carmelo to that team and it fitting right, which it would, most teams with LeBron fit correctly together, would win the championship. And they'd win the championship solely because they were able to add a player of Carmelo's ilk without losing something. Carmelo's a dynamic scorer. He's a matchup nightmare for anybody because he can score everywhere. And he takes the defensive focus off of LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, which is a big deal. Another player who can free up space for LeBron, who can free up space for Kevin in the post, who can free up space for Kyrie to isolate and do what he does and wreak havoc on defenses. This is why Carmelo Anthony being bought out is the biggest game changer still left on the board in the NBA and could change the balance of power in the NBA. Let me know if you agree. Leave your comments. Subscribe. All right. See you next time.